welcome to WeatherTech Raceway, Laguna Seca. I've come straight from the Miami Grand Prix all the way out to California for our second round of Lamborghini Super Trofeo. This is a series I've covered for over a decade now. I've been the series photographer, but I also work with teams and drivers in this series. But yeah, Lamborghini is one of my biggest clients of all the work that I do annually. So I travel around the US covering this series. We have 5 different races that we have in the United States, 5 different race weekends that we have in the United States. And this is our second round after our first round we had in Sebring during the Sebring 12-hour weekend. So we're here at Laguna Seca with the IMSA Weathertech series as a support series for, the IMSA Weathertech, Hyundai Grand Prix here at Laguna Seca. And yeah, this is Super Trofeo. These are all spec cars. So if you don't know what spec racing is, unlike Formula One where the designers are given a rule book and they have to design the car around that rule book, and every single team is going to have a different looking car, and the cars vary greatly in their speed and performance. These cars are all the same. So all 30 or 35 of these cars that are out on track, they're all the same. They're just run by different teams. They have different liveries on them, but the car, the engine mapping, all of that stuff is all the same. What the teams can change is basically the minimal adjustments of wing angle, suspension, sort of, kind of, and then tire pressures and all the minor adjustments that you can make within the car. But these are all spec cars. They all are exactly the same. So the racing is great because the real differentiator between, the guy that won the race and the guy that's 10th is really driver ability, and then the team performance and the ability for the team to set up the cars. So yeah, we've got some amazing drivers out here. We've got pro drivers, we've got Pro-Am class, we have an Am class, and we have an LB Cup class. And LB Cup is basically drivers that have very limited experience in motorsport and racing, competing against guys like this team in the pro class. So they're competing for overall wins against other pro drivers. So it makes for great racing. I've loved being part of this paddock for the last more than a decade. It's basically a family that I travel around the US with. I'm going to kind of focus mainly this weekend in this video blog on the Super Trofeo stuff, but of course I am actually here covering the IMSA Weathertech Series 2. This is the Wayne Taylor Racing team that runs 4 cars in Super Trofeo. But they also have 3 cars in the IMSA Weathertech race. They have a Lamborghini GTD that looks similar to this, but they also have 2 Acura GTP cars as well. So yeah, I've got a lot of stuff happening this weekend, but I'm going to mainly focus on the Super Trofeo stuff. So I'm going to go wander around the paddock. We have our first practice session here in a little bit, about an hour from now. And then we have one more practice session later this afternoon. And these races are actually, we have 2 races per weekend. They're each 50 minutes with a mandatory pit stop. So we have a lot of track time this weekend with these cars. So I'm gonna get to work, take some pictures, and then head out for our first practice session. So those of you that follow me on pretty much any of my social media channels have seen that I've been kind of playing around with a little bit of film photography over the last couple of months. So I picked this up on eBay after seeing somebody on social media also shooting on it, but that person didn't have anything to do with car racing, and I was like, I need this for car racing stuff. I think this would be really, really cool. So I picked this up purely for fun and for likes and clicks. Like, it's definitely worked on the likes and clicks. So I've just been kind of wandering around, taking pictures with this at some of the races that I've been to. I've done the Rolex 24-hour with it. I've done Sebring with it. I did Lamborghini Winter Ice Driving Academy with it. I was recently in Miami for the Formula One Grand Prix, did a little bit on this and the Dale Earnhardt camera, and it's been a lot of fun. Like, I've really enjoyed taking this around because it always gets a huge reaction out of people. Like, they're like, what is that? I mean, even Daniel Ricciardo, I pulled out the Dale Earnhardt version of this camera, and Danny was like, oh my God, that is insane, that is amazing, I need to see this camera. So I kind of showed it to him, I kind of let him play around with it. I did a couple pictures of him on the grid, I did some pictures of him sitting in the car, and yeah, it was just kind of a cool thing, but you wouldn't get that reaction out of somebody with, my regular DSLR or mirrorless camera, and it just doesn't have that reaction. The crazy thing about this camera is that the film you're putting in it is more expensive than the camera itself. So yeah, it is not a quality camera. So you kind of really have to line up your shots. It's very much about composition, finding the light, like all the things that really come down to photography of any kind, whether you're shooting digitally or on film. So yeah, it's been just kind of a fun toy to play around and show people and kind of just get a laugh, but I've enjoyed it. All right, I'm out trackside for the first session of Lamborghini Super Trofeo, and basically the way that I like to approach these weekends, because we have so many cars, like I'm not just chasing, you know, a couple cars, I'm chasing and have to get pictures of every single car that's running out here, all 30 of them or whatever it is. I'm basically just trying to do stock photography, more or less the first session, and then as we kind of go through the weekend, it gets easier to go do nicer, really slow shutter speed, creative stuff. Right now, I'm just trying to get a picture of everybody on track, you know, from a couple different locations. Nothing super, super artistic and slow shutter speed. This is kind of like head on, you know, here we are, Laguna Seca, that kind of stuff. From a spectator standpoint, this is one of the best tracks to go to watch car racing. Like, there's so many places to go and stand as a spectator, and you have incredible access. If you know car racing, you know the corkscrew. And the corkscrew is one of those corners that it's actually better to shoot it from the fan areas than it is to shoot from the credentialed photographer areas. Like, I've gotten some amazing pictures from fan areas around here. You do not need credentials to make pretty pictures at some of these racetracks, but especially somewhere like Laguna Seca. So like I said in the Sebring video, one of the best parts of Super Trofeo weekend is our amazing Lamborghini hospitality. Like, it's so nice to have amazing food, kind of a nice place to come chill out and sit if you need to. The drivers look at data sometimes in here because it's a nice, easy place with air conditioning. We have this beautiful temporary building that the Revolution staff puts together. It takes like a week to put this together, but it's air conditioned. It has amazing food. We have antipasta going on right now, which is kind of like hors d'oeuvres, charcuterie, fruit, cheeses, crackers, all that stuff. I don't always get amazing meals at these races, but when we have Lamborghini Super Trofeo around, it is amazing to have just a nice meal and a nice place to come sit and quality food to eat. Lots and lots and lots of stuff in the Lamborghini hospitality. And the best part is we actually have one of my pictures from our group photo at the Sebring 12-hour weekend where we had all the Super Trofeo cars lined up. Basically, if you want to come see one of my, you know, some of my portfolio, you can just come check out the Lamborghini front desk area. So pretty cool to see the pictures that we do at these race weekends up on the walls and actually being used for marketing purposes. It's cool. So this is one of my favorite shots. As the cars leave pit lane, they all come out as a big group, kind of like rush hour traffic on 485 in Charlotte. And yeah, they all come roaring out of here, and it's pretty wild. And this is one of my favorite corners. It's an iconic corner here at Laguna Seca. One of the best spots to shoot it from, actually, is in the fan areas. You don't need credentials to shoot this corner. It actually is better the farther out you go because it doesn't look as imposing or impressive as it is when you're like right up next to it. So when you kind of go into the fan areas a little bit, it actually is better to shoot. It for Friday here at Laguna Seca. We're out of here. Gonna go get some Japanese food and call it a day.
This video is brought to you by Paddock Focus Photography Workshops. Want to learn how to become a professional motorsport photographer or simply improve your racing images? Check out paddockfocus.teachable.com and use the code PFYouTube for 10% off.
Good morning, WeatherTech Raceway, Laguna Seca. It is Saturday, which means it's race day here for Lamborghini Super Trofeo. First up this morning, we've got WeatherTech practice. So we've got an hour-and-a-half practice session, but then we've got a Lamborghini Super Trofeo qualifying session, then WeatherTech autograph session, and then a little bit of a break for me because we have a race that I don't have to cover because I don't have any clients in it. But kind of a fun thing for me this weekend is I've actually brought my family to the racetrack. So my wife and my 2 kids are here with me for a weekend at the races with Daddy. Kind of a fun treat for them to be able to see the cars, see the drivers, pick up some cool race car stickers. You know, anybody with kids knows that stickers are a big thing. So I'm gonna get going with some breakfast and then head out trackside. We are getting ready for IMSA practice session number 2 here this morning. I don't think people give it enough credit for how awesome the racing is, but also how awesome the access is. Like, I'm standing where anybody can come stand. Like, you don't need a special ticket to walk around in the paddock. We're just staging cars up here. We have fans walking around, kids coming to meet the drivers and see the cars. This is how you make race fans, is giving people access like this. I'm out here at the top of the corkscrew for WeatherTech practice session number 2. This is a 90-minute practice session. So for a shot like this, I will use my 400mm lens. It's not a shot you want to do like really loose. You don't want to do it on a wide angle or even a 70-200. It's still too loose. The new 400mm lens that I've been using the last 2 weekends is just perfect for this shot. And I've got the built-in teleconverter with the 400, so if I need even more reach, which I don't for this shot, but if I need more reach, I can just flip the teleconverter and it goes to 560mm. Yeah, it's a long practice session, so I'm gonna try and hit as many places as I can in this next 90 minutes. Hot, sweaty pit lane session. Made it back for the last 15 minutes, but it is warm out here, so gonna head back trackside for Lamborghini Super Trofeo qualifying, which starts here shortly. Yeah, I don't even have time to go dump my cards or anything. It's just one session into the other. All right, time for some Lamborghini Super Trofeo qualifying. So this is basically as they head up the Ray Hall straight toward the corkscrew at the very, very top of this. Yeah, it's warm out here. I'm sweating. I didn't have time to change out of my fire suit, so I'm in my warm black fire suit. It's kind of like wearing ski clothes in the middle of summer. That's kind of what it feels like. Not fun. Up with the autograph session and got some work done. Thankfully, I had my buddy and colleague Fred Hardy doing a lot of the photography for me, so I could spend a lot of time with my family during the autograph session, collecting stickers and meeting some of the drivers. So I'm going to grab a quick lunch at Lamborghini Hospitality and sit down for a minute and edit some pictures. It's time for WeatherTech qualifying, and unfortunately WeatherTech qualifying is happening more or less at the exact same time as Lamborghini Super Trofeo false grid. And false grid is one of the best times to get pictures of drivers getting ready, getting in cars. So I'm gonna shoot GTD for like 5 minutes, and then I'm gonna run back down the hill and head to Lamborghini false grid. So this is part of the afternoon where it all starts happening all at the same time. Saturday done. How was the day, Fred?
Very busy.
It was busy. We got a car on pole.
That's true. Yes, that was very cool.
That's always fun. Tomorrow is going to be also a long one because the Super Trofeo race number 2 finishes basically as everybody else is going to the grid for the WeatherTech race. So not ideal timing. Gonna have to pump out a very fast edit. That looks fucking awesome. Wow. Too bad it's not one of my clients. It's race day.
It's all money.
So we're starting our day with some McDonald's.
Right.
And we got a chatty Cathy behind the window, but it's race day and it's cloudy. Fred's gonna be on pits and paddock and grid duty while I'm doing Lamborghini, and then I'll try and jump in and do the grid. So we got a long day. Hopefully the sun will come out at some point. I'm sure it will. We got the marine layer going right now, and then got a long edit this afternoon before we wrap up our weekend here at Laguna Seca. So one more day. So false grid, which is where they line up all the cars and the drivers are milling around, is one of the best chances to get nice candids and portraits. The light's pretty nice this morning. It's about 9 a.m. right now. But if you want to be a motorsport photographer, and I say this all the time on all my social medias, if you want to be a motorsport photographer, going to events like any IMSA race is the place to start, because you have access to all of this with any ticket. Like, you don't need credentials to be out here. There's so many fans just walking around, people taking pictures. People come up to me all the time and say, hey Jamey, like, just love taking pictures. That is what this is about. So having the access, you don't need credentials to make pictures. You can come up here and take cool portraits of drivers. You can get pictures of drivers getting ready. You know, you can get cool details of cars. Like, there's 41 Lamborghinis sitting out here right now. Like, yeah, you don't need credentials to come stand and do what I'm doing right now. So one of the best parts about Laguna Seca is that the fan area photography options are amazing. Like, one of the best starts in all of US racing anyway is basically just a fan area. Anybody can go there with a ticket of any kind, spot. It's right behind me. I'm sitting in the grassy hill that's just kind of below that, but the picture is pretty much the same. You can get a really, really nice start shot picture just as a fan with a camera. I'm using a 400 millimeter, but anything 70 to 200 or more is really, really nice. You get a nice shot of all the cars coming down into turn 1, and then you can get them going away. Anything from 70 to 200, 400, 500, 600 would probably be too much actually, but the 400, the new lens that I've got, the 400 is absolutely perfect for this spot because I can use the internal teleconverter if I want more reach, but 400 millimeter is perfect for this spot. Unfortunately, we're under safety car again here in Lamborghini Super Trofeo Race 2. We had 2 safety car periods yesterday for crashes, and we've had 2 today. Safety cars are annoying in races this short because the cars are no longer going at speed, and not only are they not going at speed, but they take a different line than they normally would. They don't take the racing line, so kind of makes it a little frustrating and challenging to shoot. We got 10 minutes left to this race, and these 50-minute races goes quick, especially when we've got 2 safety cars. So I'm heading back toward the podium, and I really don't even know who's winning this race right now, because I think there were some penalties handed out, and the drivers that were P1, P2 are no longer P1, P2. So I have no idea. All right, we got the open fan grid walk, which is probably the best part of an IMSA race, where anybody with a ticket can come down and walk on the grid. Can't do that in World Endurance Championship, can't do that in Formula E, can't do it in anything, especially not Formula 1, but it is one of the best parts of an IMSA race, where you can just come down, you can come stand right next to the cars, talk to the drivers. I mean, I've already said hi to some of my buddies that are driving in a little bit, and as you go farther down the grid, it's not even roped off. I mean, these are roped off just because they're the really complicated GTP cars, and they're fragile, and you don't want to sit on them, but the GTD cars way down there's no ropes, nothing, so you can just wander around, say hi to the drivers, get your pictures with the cars. It's just really, really cool. Sprint races, like this is a sprint race, it's a 2-hour, 40-minute race, which is longer than our last one at Long Beach, which was 90 minutes. But the name of the game is to move to as many spots as you can, so I'm going to try and hit as many spots as I can and get a pit stop. So the pit stop window for driver change opens at like 50 minutes, I think. So I just need to be aware of my time and where I am and what I'm doing so that I don't miss that. We got 3 minutes left of the race, and I'm down in the pit box, so I can make fun of my friends like Marcus. But Wright Motorsport is currently P3, which is pretty awesome considering they started pretty far back. So I'm going to shoot the team celebrating. There'll be some high fives and handshakes and all that. And then I'm going to jump on the scooter and run to the podium. And yeah, looks like Porsche overall winner. And then, yeah, that's kind of the big one.
Let's hear it for your GTP class, top 3.
All right, that is it from Laguna Seca. Done. Yeah, gonna go edit some pictures, gonna edit all the Super Trofeo stuff, and then make sure everybody has their podium pictures quickly, and then go get some dinner before we head to bed. I'm gonna spend a little time in California with my family for the next couple days. We're gonna go to the aquarium, and we're gonna do the go see the seals sitting in the town center here in Monterey. They're like right on the edge of the water in the middle of town. So yeah, gonna go do the California things, maybe go see some redwoods and just see a nice, beautiful part of the world. Thank you for joining, thank you for subscribing, thank you for liking. I have a bunch of big events coming up. I have the Monaco Grand Prix, followed by Detroit IMSA WeatherTech race. We've got these GTP cars and GTD Pro back again, and then I head to Montreal for the Formula One race, followed by the 24 Hours of Le Mans, and of course the Watkins Glen 6 hour after that. So thank you for tuning in, thank you for watching, thank you for subscribing, and I'll see you on the next one.